Welcome to Polyphenome Show. I'm your host Paul. So today we are going to talk about what went wrong with Rings of Power, but also what went right. So take a seat and prepare yourself to take a journey with us on this video. So we are going to start with the good stuff. What went right with Rings of Power, and I got to be honest with you. On this subject, the imagery, the visual part, the landscapes, the everything related to the visuals are just excellent. I have no complaints about it. Special effects, the fights, everything related. The first episodes, the first part, it was epic. I mean, it was you could tell that you were in the Lord of the Rings universe. It was just epic, and there were no complaints about the budget spent on that part. I mean, you could really tell they really spent the budget, a lot of the budget on it. There were some good acting, of course, not that many recognizable actors, but the acting of some characters was good. Not that big names, because the most part they spent it on the visual effects and everything. But I love the interaction between some characters, and overall that was one of my favorite things. Now let's go to the bad stuff. One of the main reasons this series actually is not as good or accurate as one should expect it is the fact that, according to some other YouTube channels who actually dedicate to great content on Lord of the Rings and other fantasy franchises such as Lord of the Rings and also Kai 47, they stated the most part of the plot, maybe 80% or sort of, is not actually original from the books. It is not derivated from that source, but actually it is created by the writers. So what happens here? So what happens, and according to some of them, the Rings of Power series, the showrunners, what they wanted to do, it was to show parts of the Second Age, and these are contained, some of them on the Silmarillion. However, they do not have the rights of that source, so they back themselves on the appendix books and stories. And since there is no much coherence among them, because even Tolkien declared that some of them were not canon, in some parts they contradict themselves. There is a lack of coherence on the story, the main plot. So what happens here is that you have a story that is lacking consistency, is lacking the main strong point that should be based on the books, and they try to fill this with other narratives, arcs, and plots that are actually made up, so it's not that faithful to the source material. I wonder what will think today Tolkien if he will watch this series. Do you think will he be angry about it? But that's one of the main reasons this didn't work, and you can tell by watching the character arcs that is not well done. So one of the main problems that this series has, as we mentioned before, is that due to the fact that we have different characters, geography, locations, and stories that belong to different times, showrunners wanted to put all together to merge it into one story, so therefore we lack of coherence on this part. And what comes out is a series of 3 or more stories that are not connected until the end of the series, almost. And one of them, the Harfoots, is not even connected on the end, just a brief blink to it. So basically what happens here is that there's a mix of a lot of things and not one clear direction of what the showrunners want to accomplish. And when having that, the people, the audience, feels confused, because at the beginning you have a strong introduction to the story, so to say, but at the end, well, you have like a decent finale ending, but what happens in the middle is that there's no strong characters over here. Also, on the inclusion part has been criticized due to the fact that some characters do not belong to the geographical area where they are supposed to be, where in other series this is not a problem. Another main concern is about Galadriel, and is that you and me, we know Galadriel as maybe a wise elf, and also someone who has a lot of knowledge, and also in a certain type, someone calm. But here we see Galadriel like very proud and kind of like a violent character, which in Tolkien's books she was on her previous ages a warrior, but she was not that violent or that proud, you might say, anger as we see on this version. Not to mention, Celebrimbor was one of the main characters on the Second Age, and actually he was friend of Narvi the dwarf, and together they made the West Gate of Khazad-dûm. Now on the series, Celebrimbor has been like sidestepped. He has been left aside for other characters and friendships such as Elrond and Durin. Although I believe there's chemistry between these two characters, this is not how it was portrayed on the books. And actually, well, I don't know what to think about it. I like the chemistry and the friendship, but I think it will be interesting to portray Celebrimbor and Narvi instead of Elrond and Durin, and also Gandalf, who we knew as a stranger. But, well, this is the only excuse to have the Harfoots in here, and, well, there's an interesting origin of Gandalf over here, and with the ladies that did magic when they fought, but I don't know. And about Isildur, the showrunners, spoiler alert if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings, they wanted us to believe that Isildur is kind of missing or kind of dead. We know about the Lord of the Rings, the first movie that is not the case, and he survives to cut Sauron's finger, and the ring went to him, onto his possession. So also they try to make Celeborn, Galadriel's husband, dead or missing or something like that, and that is not the case. We saw him on the Fellowship of the Ring. But about Halbrand, now this is an interesting talk. Now they try to make Halbrand like Halbrand is Sauron, by the way, and he basically manipulated Galadriel and Numenorians to go and fight and defeat his enemy Adar, and took over the Southlands that now is Mordor. Well, I would love if they had been faithful to the books, portraying Sauron with the Anatar version that he had, and trying to basically fool the elves with the Rings of Power crafts, but that was not the case. Rings of Power should be easily fixed if they focus only on the Rings of Power creation, not on other plots, stories, and characters that had nothing to do with the plot, with the main theme. And it's kind of just to compare to the House of the Dragon series, but one thing that House of the Dragon did well was portraying actually the main thing, which is the struggle for the power between the different characters. But Rings of Power actually does not make a clear difference about its central theme, and actually on the books, actually Sauron on its form of Anatar fools the elves to create the Rings of Power with Celebrimbor, and this should be portrayed on the series, but it wasn't. So what a missed opportunity. Well, this was everything for this video. See you the next time.